drive tanks, fire mortars, and lead infantry soldiers into combat. They'll be able to serve as Army Rangers and Green Berets, Navy SEALs, Marine Corps infantry, Air Force parajumpers, and everything else that was previously open only to men.
Welcome back. I'm Dennis Michael Lynch, filling in for Ed this evening. Joining us now, former U.S. Army helicopter pilot, now the senior military advisor for Concerned Veterans of America, Amber Smith, and United States Marine Corps veteran, Jude Eden. Ladies, thank you for joining me today.
Thanks for having me.
Amber, I'm going to start with you. Are we seeing more women engaging in combat?
Well, it's no question. Women have been serving in combat for some time. I served in combat a year in Iraq, a year in Afghanistan, direct fire engagements with the enemy. Women have been doing their part in combat for some time. So I was surprised but happy to hear Secretary Carter's decision. I think that women should be given the opportunity to try as long as they can meet the exact same standard as the men. There should be a mission standard, not a gender standard. So as long as women are able to do absolutely everything that the men are able to, they should be given every opportunity to try just the same way men are able to.
Jude, I want you to weigh in on the same exact thing.
Well, while women have been deploying to combat zones for decades now, that's not the same thing as engaging in direct combat missions. There's a wide divide, a big difference between pre-deployment workups and the standards of a support unit versus the standards of an infantry unit. So while women have been engaged by the enemy and sometimes engaged the enemy, they were not engaged in direct ground combat missions, which are to go after the enemy where he lives to kill him. So it's a very different standard. And women have not been showing that they're equal to the standards, even when some women are able to perform very well. They're still not able to perform at the level of infantrymen, and we retain, even before the men's infantry standards, women retain more than twice the injuries of men. So if we had gear or transport that...
If women are able to do the exact same things...
If we had gear or transport that broke more than half the time, we would not deploy that gear. That would be a dereliction of duty. And it puts women in a very disadvantaged position to put them in a position where they're going to be dealing with hand-to-hand combat with these men. Please don't interrupt me. I'm answering the question.
Yeah. Hold on. Let's do this in order. Let's do this in order. Jude?
This is not flight missions. This is not where you're, thousands of feet above the fray. This is long marches under load.
Well, I actually wasn't thousands of feet above the fray. I was
Jude, let Amber...
feet above the ground.
Go ahead, Amber.
No, what I'm saying is this is an overreaction. There is not going to be a mass influx of women. There's not going to be a majority of 50% women in the infantry now. All this decision was allowing women to try. Meaning, guess what? If you can meet the exact same physical standard as the guys who were trying out next to you, so be it. It should be the best people in those.
But that's not the reality, because they've already established that the standards will be reevaluated.
The Army
Let's not talk over each other, ladies.
Let's
not talk over each other.
That were passed through school. It's already been, the whistleblowers have come forward to say that they were given special treatment, extra training. The standards are already being lowered, and if the women can make the standards, they would not have to be reevaluated.
It's not a conspiracy theory. There is not going to be a mass amount of women if... the Army was having to recruit women to come in and try out for Ranger School. So what I'm saying is that there is still going to be a minimal amount of women serving in these elite forces and in these ground combat roles. It's going to be very minimal, and when if they get injured, guess what? men get injured too. And so it's just part of the job description. You can't say, oh, you can't serve in combat because you might get hurt. Guess what? When you sign up for the military, you might die too when you go to war. These are all parts of being in the military. And if a woman can meet those exact same standards, she should be given the opportunity to try. This isn't a quota. This isn't a guarantee or a double standard. If that's what it was, I would be against it. But if they are able to meet the exact same mission standards and physical standards, then it's 2015. It's about time they're given the opportunity to try.
All right. Let me give Jude. Jude, you've got the last word here. I'm going to let you give 20-second rebuttal. Go ahead.
This is not an equal opportunity when women retain more than half the injuries. It's not an equal opportunity when we're talking about direct ground combat, and it removes now women, active duty women, no longer have a choice. They will be assigned on the same involuntary basis as men, and now women are subject to the draft, removing all
Jude, girls, I have to stop you at that. We could have this conversation for 12 more minutes, but I'm going to have to cut you off at that. Thank you, Jude and Amber. Up next, a look at the plethora of political jokes in this week's political punching bag.
President Obama may have met with world leaders in Paris to talk about climate change, but it appears he has plans of his own. The New York Times has reported that President Obama is planning to implement massive climate change regulation without ratification from Congress. This means the president is abusing his executive power to funnel global warming money at will and wherever he wants. But is there even solid science behind the global warming claim? Former Reagan White House advisor and NASA scientist John Casey says no. In the compelling book Dark Winter, Inside Dark Winter, you'll see the NOAA satellite data that proves the Earth is actually cooling. Casey exposes the global warming myth and presents you with the hard facts and figures to unmask the annual $22 billion money grab. Get John Casey's revealing book and DVD absolutely free with our special offer. That's a savings of more than $35. You can claim this special offer by clicking on newsmax.com/global warming or by calling our toll-free number 800-780-3417. That's 800-780-3417.